Yo guys, this is Nate and I'm back for another audio commentary for WCReplays.com, and today I have a pretty damn cool game for you guys, especially entertaining for those of you who play Undead. And let's go ahead and get this game loaded. Alright, so the map is Plunder Isle and the players are me, WOA Slide as Undead versus CHeRRyZ-BoMb also as Undead. Now, I am currently level 15, and CHeRRyZ-BoMb is 17, both of us with pretty good records. Let's pause this game at 15 seconds on 1x speed under my vision with Fog of War on. So anyway, the basis of this game is that I'm going to try to fast expand, and he's going to hit me early with a Lich Rush, and the game will evolve from there. So hopefully you guys have reached the 15-second mark. So let's unpause in 3, 2, 1, unpause. So, as you've probably already noticed, I've put a very early graveyard, and this is not, however, to go for fiends. And my plan is to attempt a fast expansion. You wouldn't think that fast expansion would be good on Plunder Isle, but in fact, I find it to be very, very effective because it's so easy to defend the expansion, as you will see. Especially, you just get one sacrificial skull, put it on the edge of the hill, and put two or three ziggurats there, and your opponent, there's no way they can get in there. And it's excellent against it says an anti-siege factor and so forth, so it's very easy to defend it once you get those towers up. So basically my build order goes Crypt, Graveyard, Ziggurat, Altar, and constantly producing ghouls and throwing up a Tomb of Relics when my hero comes out. And I want to buy a Skeleton Rod and a Sacrificial Skull. The Sacrificial Skull allowing me to build those Ziggurats quickly, and that Skeleton Rod being very important if I get intercepted, because I need that extra power basically. It's not that I can't creep the expansion without it, it's just that, what I can do is that as soon as the hero comes out, I can use it to get 2 skeletons, and then my opponent attacks me while I'm creeping, and I have 2 more, so I can have 4 extra skeletons, which is as good as having 4 extra ghouls. Now, I always scout when fast expanding. Basically, it's very important to know what your opponent is doing, if they're coming for you, if they're teching, and I kind of screw up my scouting in this, in that I see what he's doing, but I don't really react to it, so I don't screw up the scouting part, but clearly if he's going for the typical Undead kind of thing, he's going to Lich Rush me, or something. In general, when you see, one Crypt, Altar, Tomb of Relics, you can pretty much expect to get rushed. And that's my mistake here, is that instead of waiting for him to come, or at least scouting continually to scout with that ghoul, it's worth it to lose the ghoul and know that he's coming at me, but instead I just assume he's not coming at me, and that means that I'm going to lose all my acolytes in my main base while I'm trying to creep that expansion, which is what makes this game so difficult for me early on. Alright, so now that my Dreadlord is out, I don't really have this build down, so it's not really possible to have that constant stream of ghouls without waiting a couple of seconds here, but I like to get cannibalized. I find it's a very effective way to heal up the ghouls instead of, messing around with them. And in Undead versus Undead, I prefer not to get an Erubian Tower, but I like to actually get a Spirit Tower. Now, this is simply because I'm going Dreadlord, so it's very easy for me to sleep and surround a hero, so that the Erubian Tower is not going to be quite as effective, whereas the Spirit Tower is quite a threat to ghouls in your base. So that's why I'm choosing that over the Erubian Tower. Now you'll see right as I'm starting to creep this, you turn off Fog of War for a sec, you see he's heading in my base. So this is a real problem for me. Now, in general, if I get intercepted like this, I'll just completely ignore the creeps and go right to my base. But you see I've already begun to construct these Ziggurats, which isn't really a bad move. It's important to get them up quickly, but if I'd left these creeps here, the creeps would have attacked them and killed them, and it's very important to get those up. So I'm basically making the choice here of sacrificing my acolytes so that I can get those ziggurats up, which will allow me to win in the long run, but not in the short term. I'm getting second spirit tower here, so he can't stick around in my base, and just trying to run my acolytes away, but not doing a very good job of it, obviously. Now, the thing to do here is really just to focus fire ghouls with that spirit tower, not on the skeleton warriors, because I don't plan on having him be in my base a long time. If I was, and then I'd kill the skeleton warriors, because they're like half the hit points of a ghoul, but they do more damage, so it's good to take those out quickly. But my planer just sleeps around him, so I want to get as many permanent kills off of him as I can. Now he's doing a good job of keeping his lich away from me and keeping his ghouls between them, but right here he doesn't react fast enough. It's very important if you're going lich first to be able to react to a dreadlord with sleep. You know, and he could have really won the game if I hadn't forced him to TP out here. So that was a crucial move on my part. And that's really why you have to go dreadlord when fast expanding, in my opinion. You can't go Death Knight because you couldn't. I mean, you can't continually depend on being able to force a teleport. Whereas there, I'm depending on forcing a teleport to get him out of my base and buy me the time I need. So now my plan is I'm really set back. Usually I don't lose that many acolytes. So my plan is really to just get my production up and running as quickly as possible and hold off any more attacks. And also to know he now, I didn't know that he knew about my expo. I guess he scouted over, but clearly I know now that he knows that I have an expo. And that means he's got a couple options, but generally the best option to countering fast expansion is not to take it out per se, but to expand yourself. Especially after that massive attack he just enacted upon me. I'm very weak and I can barely, take him head to head. And it's a very prime time for him to counter expand, especially because I probably won't be able to stop him. So I'm going directly to his natural to try and stop that. And indeed, he's here. My first priority is to go directly after the hero because he has no town portal on that hero. If I can surround the hero, then that can practically win me the game right there. So that's why I'm going after the lich, but to a certain extent you can't chase the lich so much. However, now he's not really. The key to me winning this battle here is the fact that I have a Rod of Necromancy and he doesn't. So I've got a big advantage there, even though it doesn't seem like it. And so I think that's why he didn't want to stick around. Also, his lich was very low. So right there, that just completely saved my ass. That could have been the game for me right there. Could have ended 10 minutes in once he got that expo up. So now, basically, you'll see I have almost no wood, and I need to get more wood. And it's very important that you tech in Undead versus Undead. Because if your opponent decides to necro rush you, which is very rare, but if they do, you need to at least be a tier 2 so you can produce gargoyles to kill those necromancers. Otherwise, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And he's already a tier 2. I see that, although he's not going for necromancers. But he's got guards now, so it's very important for me to get right to tier 2. And my only real advantage here, of course, is that I have an expansion and he doesn't. Although, what I don't really understand is why he doesn't just send his guards directly at my expansion. I have no towers directly covering the gold mine. And that would really be the best move for him, to delay that expansion as much as possible. And what I like to do when I've got an expansion is I basically do the same thing every game, which is Dreadlord first, and then Death Knight second. Sometimes I'll get Crypt Lord third, but generally it's just those two heroes. So go 3 crypts and 2 slaughterhouses. And the 3 crypts, although they may seem a little overboard, are very, very important. Because they let me switch my army and switch countering very, very quickly and effectively. And it means I don't really have a weakness in terms of my army as long as I can TP out. Because I can create a counter so effectively. So let's say I hadn't seen those guards that he was building, and all of a sudden he comes in with 10 guards. I can just go sit behind my towers and start churning out gargoyles. And that'll really do the trick for me. Now you see he's creeping with those guards, which is clearly a good move. But as I said before, it would have been much better if he would just kill those acolytes in my expansion. There's nothing I could really do to stop that. He could cause me so much trouble killing towers as they went up. I mean, I think that would have been a lot better than creeping. And you'll see also he's not making another attempt to expand, which isn't necessarily a bad idea, because he's got all those guards. If you just turn off Fog of War for a sec, you'll see he's coming at my base and he's got all these guards, which I can't really counter, and I'm very far behind. And this is really the place in the game where he should win it. Like, he should decisively come in and win the game right now. He's got a stronger army, you know, stronger heroes, statues, and he's on his, you know, he's an entire tier ahead of me, and that's a really big deal. But he's going after the wrong thing here, which is my main, and what he really needs to do is take out my expansion and stop my expansion. And you see here now, I'm putting up those other crypts, and basically with every minute that passes, he's just getting into a worse and worse position, and I can just completely overwhelm him with the ghouls. And his guards aren't actually where they need to be, which is with him, causing me lots of problems. So, although it's good that he's creeping with the guards, they're not doing what he needs them to be doing. And so that's basically how I survive until tier 2, is generally just massing up ghouls, building as many as I can, and then if my opponent comes, sleeping and surrounding them, or else just swarming them with ghouls. And actually I played a game earlier today which was kind of funny, and I just massed ghouls to 100 food and then just swarmed my opponent. My opponent was Night Elf, and I made sure they didn't have any chimps, and it was just insane. But that's generally the idea, is just to swarm your opponent until you can hit tier 2 and get those more diversified units. Now generally I won't go after my opponent, but I'll just creep as much as possible. I mean, really, I've already got my advantage, which is that expansion. So the only time I'll really go after my opponent is to take out my opponent's expansion. Otherwise, your best bet is just to creep and hang back. I mean, this even works against Beastmaster users. In general, I like to harass against them, but if you have an expansion up and they don't, you're gonna win. I mean, it counts for just about anything. You're gonna win if you have an expansion and your opponent doesn't all game long. Now, I don't know what he's doing. He's off creeping. I mean, that's exactly what I want him to be doing, really. He's not neutralizing my expansion. He's not getting up his own expansion. And I'm now in tier 2, and he's giving me time to catch up with him and get as many guards as I want. And he can have 12 guards now, but I mean, he has 2 crypts, but I have 3 crypts and I've got an expansion, and I can just, you know, mass produce guards as much as I'd like. Now, the Dreadlord actually makes for a really good creeper, you know, in this kind of situation, because with Sleep and with Rods of Necromancy, you can just tear through these creeps very, very quickly. So, generally I get him to around level 4 before I get my DK out, but... So now he's got Frenzy also. He's still not pushing his advantage. He's got a 3rd hero. And the hero combination is really what holds me back in this game. And it's true that if he'd gone Dreadlord 2nd instead of Death Knight, he would have had, you know, much higher area of effect kind of things. AoE is really a great thing to go in Undead versus Undead. And, you know, it really messes with me in this game, because if you don't have healing scrolls, you just start losing units all over the place. And you'll see what he's been doing all game is creeping with these guards, and now he's creeping the dragons. And he's getting huge, huge advantage out of hero levels. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, there's no way I can compete with that. He's got level 3 Lich, level 1 Dreadlord, level 3 Death Knight, level 2 Dreadlord now. And he's got every advantage here, except the fact that he's just not taking out my expansion. And now he's trying to expand with his Acolyte here now, but I'm scouting with my illusion, so I'll be alert of that relatively quickly. And now I'm in tier 3, and now the tech advantage that he had is really leaving him. And he's coming in just a little bit late because I'm starting to be able to counter him. Now what he really wants to do is catch me outside of my base, where he can just massacre me with those guards. He doesn't really want to go into the base. The spurred towers are pretty effective. But if I were him right now, I'd just be nuking those ghouls with my AoE and killing all of them like he's doing now. And if he can kill enough ghouls with AoE, he's just going to gain a big enough advantage straight up like that. I mean, he's got pretty high level AoE here. So my plan here is just to survive this attack, which basically means that I need to sit behind my towers, take advantage of my expansion, and just churn out gargoyles until I've got enough to kill him. And maybe get some healing scrolls. And a good move by him, you know, got my Death Knight surrounded, and I'm really in a lot of trouble, it would seem. I mean, he's really got the big advantage here at this point. The one thing though is, I mean, it's kind of a problem in the Undead versus Undead matchup, is you can't go into your opponent's base or you're just going to get screwed. Now you see here I've trapped his Death Knight, and that's a problem for him. But he can't go any farther into my base or those spirit towers are just going to massacre him if I start focus firing gargoyles with them. So, I mean, if I were him, I would think maybe the best thing to do would have been to get a couple meat wagons or something. You see, my Death Knight's practically dead, but he can't. I mean, he can go into my base, but he doesn't want to lose anything really. Now he's expanded here, and that's good, but he's not really. He doesn't have any acolytes on that. I mean, he's doing the right thing really. He's taken advantage of, a bit late, true, but he has taken advantage of his advantages, and is now expanding. But I've had an expansion up for like 10 minutes now. And I've got 5 production centers. And if he keeps sitting here outside my base like this, he's so screwed. So at this point I'm basically switching to mass guards. There's no point in me going ghouls really, because they're just going to get owned by AoE. I could go mass ghouls, but I don't really feel like... I don't know, in this game I just felt like going guards. Not to mention I do have a nice level 2 vampiric aura and higher upgraded guards, so I figure I can just massacre his guards like that. The problem is though, it's very easy for him to Nova Swarm my gargoyles. And another problem is that he's basically crept all the good stuff to be crept with gargoyles, so I'm losing a lot of advantages like that. But see, I'm buying healing scrolls for both my heroes and Orb of Corruption. And, you know, it's pretty simple really, it's just mass gargoyles. Now the key is not this, the way I micro my gargoyles, I generally put them in their own hotkey. Generally that hotkey is 2. And I don't move them in among the guards. With the way air pathing works, you can actually focus fire effectively with gargoyles. And once they're in among the gargoyles, then they auto-acquire the gargoyles right next to them usually. So rather than moving them in, I'll just take, you know, my group 2 and then right-click on one gargoyle in the middle of his gargoyles, and then just kind of let them be in and continue to refocus them when necessary. And I actually find that really often I end up out-microing my opponents with gargoyles, although that may seem odd. But all the time I see people not, I mean I do it too, like not attacking gargoyles with gargoyles, and that's what they're really there for, is to kill the opponent's gargoyles. So, yeah, you guys get the idea. My hotkey setup here is pretty simple really. It's just heroes and statues in group 1, gargoyles and more gargoyles in groups 2 and 3. And also the reason I put my statues in a group with my heroes instead of just having them follow my heroes around is because I don't focus fire with my heroes group, and it may seem kind of stupid because clearly statues do not heal if they're attacking, but I don't actually focus fire with them, and if you're just A-clicking then they'll heal. And that's why I do that. And I do most of my microing with the gargoyles when I can. So I'm just continuing to upgrade the gargoyles. Upgrades are very, very important. Usually I'm one to shun upgrades, but you've got a lot of money like this, and it's gargoyles versus gargoyles. Each upgrade makes a huge, huge difference in combination with the vampiric aura and everything. So I want to get as many upgrades as possible. And also the fact that I'm just staying in 50 food, although that's pretty stupid considering that I have an expo up on him. I don't see why I don't just go right to 80, but... Now I'm in a pretty dangerous situation here. Except, well, I do have TP, so I don't really have to worry. But, I mean, he's got level 4, level 3, so we're looking at level 2 Nova Coil on my Gargs. And that, you know, Healing Scrolls counter that pretty effectively. But, and it's... What's really the key advantage here is, first of all, that I have level 2 Vampiric Ore. Second of all, that I have 2/2 Gargs against his 1-0 Gargs. So my Gargs are massacring his, but now that they're dead, my sticking around here is a complete waste of time. I mean, there's no way I'm going to kill any of his heroes, and he's just feeding off my gargoyles. So what I should really do is TP out at this point, not run because he can just keep Novaing me and really cause me a lot of problems. And I should have TP'd out the moment all his Gargs were dead. And instead, I'm playing stupid, and you'll see he pulls off a very cool move here right when I try and TP out. Watch for this here. Now I see my Dreadlord's getting low. It's really a mistake to... It's generally a mistake to TP out with a hero other than the Death Knight. I generally like to put my TPs on the Death Knight, because the Death Knight's the one that heals. And all you see right there, he Nova'd like a second before I TP'd out and killed my Death Knight. But also I'm not used to having level 1 coil 20 minutes into the game. So I didn't really want to lose my Dreadlord. So basically I made a choice there between my Dreadlord or my Death Knight, and I chose the level 4 hero over the level 2 hero. So I wouldn't say it was really a bad move on my part. It was just probably could have been avoided if I'd paid a little closer attention and TP'd out a lot earlier. Well, could have. Definitely could have. Now you see here though where my advantage is really kicking in. And I still have Fog Ore off, by the way. He's got no units really. And I don't either, but look at this. All 3 crypts are turning out units. Who do you think's going to win a few minutes from now? You know? And as he says, my expo is no thank you. And no, it is not thank you. So again, I'm just continuing to mass produce gargoyles at this point. My main concern really is just dealing with his heroes. And I wouldn't say that the gargoyles are really the best choice against that, but I don't know whether he's... And actually, he is actually continuing to make gargoyles, so it's not a bad move on my part to mass up Garg, because it'll just massacre his. But against Tri-Hero AoE, ghouls, Gargs, stuff that comes out of crypts are not good ideas in general. It's much more effective to start making destroyers, abominations, stuff with high hit points that can be healed much more easily. But I'm doing okay here. His army's kind of separated. I'm using, now that I have level 3 sleep, I'm using it whenever I can. Sleeping whenever I can. Generally, if I'm going to focus fire a hero, I'll sleep the Death Knight in order to kill it. Or if it's just in battle, I'll sleep the Lich as much as possible so the Novas won't go off as often. And you see I'm not microing my Gargs very effectively here, but now that I pay attention to him, you see he could just slaughter his Gargs in like a second. And now I have level 2 Death Coil. At this point again, I should just get out of here. There's nothing really for me to kill. And now I'm losing. I just lost like 4 or 5 gargoyles. I really didn't need to lose if I had just pulled them out of there. Fact is, I should have just taken all the Gargs and just got him away from his area of effect, and then chased after him with my heroes and destroyers and everything. I'm trying to kill his hero, but he's doing a good job keeping them alive. And that's really his only advantage at this point is that Tri-Hero. And every time I get close to killing him, he kills me, damn. He heals it. It's annoying. Now, at this point, he's got a decent amount of money, but at this point to build more Gargs is really foolish, I think, as he's doing. The fact is, I've got a whole bunch of Gargs, and if I just play right, he's going to lose Gargs as they come out of the crypt. and it's a much better investment to actually just stock up on items. And I did actually do a game on this. I think it was back at WarcraftReplays.com, where my opponent was going Mass Dragonhawks Griffins, and I just put tons of items on my heroes. And that's basically what I think he should be doing at this point. You see his Death Knight, well, now he's going to lose his Death Knight, I think. But what he could have done is bought 2-3 healing potions, a mana potion, a town portal, something like that. You know, put Orbs of Corruption on all of his heroes. And, oh, am I going to kill the Death Knight? Am I going to... Come on. Don't tell me the Death Knight gets away. I don't kill the Death Knight. Oh, that was terrible. Well, anyway, the thing for him to do really here is just keep his heroes alive, which is his big advantage at this point. Put an Orb of Corruption, Healing Potion, Mana Potion on all of his heroes, and I'm not going to be able to touch his heroes, as we've seen throughout the game. I mean, he's got level 3 coil. His heroes are not going to die. And I don't really know what I could, do against that particularly effectively. That would just completely mess me up, I think. And I'd probably, my best bet would be to switch to like Frost Worms or something, or pull off surrounds. But that's really the best thing he can do instead of building Gargs, which now he's going Fiends. But he just doesn't have enough units. He can't compete unit-wise. Any units he builds are just going to get killed, and the heroes are what are going to keep him alive, I think. So that's what I would have done at this point. I'm TPing out here because I don't want to lose my heroes. And now you see I'm closing in on level 6 here, and I forgot to rally those Gargs. It wasn't cool, but once I get level 6, it'll be a lot easier for me to push in with that Infernal. But he's got 5/5/4 heroes. That's pretty powerful. Now I'm finally catching on, and I think I'm going to stop building Gargs at this point. Gargs are really a waste, because they're just going to get owned by that area of effect, and I have to keep investing in healing scrolls, and I may as well just start massing up Abominations, which are really the best unit I can get at this point versus what he's got. And also, now that he's producing Fiends, those Abominations will work very well. And there we go, I'm building A-bombs. Now again, it's really not too smart of me to be engaging him. I mean, it would seem smart considering the fact that I have a huge army compared to his, but if I go in, I'm just feeding him experience. It's, I'm not really going to be killing much of anything, and he's got every opportunity to just kill a dozen Gargs on that second Nova Swarm. So... Now he's finally expanded again, but again, he's competing. He's been competing the entire game. He's continuing to compete 1 gold mine against 2, and you just can't do that. No amount of micro really. I mean, he almost had me for a while, but it's so hard to deal with that. Let me tell you. You see, I'm sleeping the Lich here. I don't want to get Nova'd. I mean, he's got level 3 Nova. That's pretty devastating. He's got like 500 mana, so I don't want to mess with that. I'm going after the statues at this point because I realize I'm not going to be able to kill those heroes. But if you press Alt for a second, see all my Gargs are low. Right here is not good for me, and bam, I just lost like 6 Gargs to a Nova. That really sucked. But yeah. So again, at this point, I just need to switch to better units, really, which I'm doing. Now the thing to do here when you see that they've got a invulnerability potion on the hero is to press hold. Now right here you'll see he's going to hit the invulnerability potion, and then my units move away. You obviously don't want that to happen. Although realistically, to keep sitting there would have killed me, because he was sitting right there. But here we go. I get the Death Knight here. Or no, I don't. I tried to statue surround, I guess it didn't work too well. So here we are chasing around again, but you see I've located his expansion. I'm doing what I said he should have done before, which is that I'm harassing his expansion with his gargoyles. And I mean, once you get a few gargoyles up there, what happens is there's nothing your opponent can do to stop them really, except send their army there. Because you can keep killing acolytes, and then if they try and put up towers, you can kill the towers with the gargoyles. It's really a very effective way to do things. And, I mean, that can be stopped with the army, clearly. But it's a nice tactic, I think. And so now I'm competing 2 gold mines against none. So, and he's continuing to build those fiends, and it's not really like he has a choice. But now I'm just massing up A-bombs, and he's in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble.
Our gold mine has collapsed.
Wow, destroyers have a lot of armor, don't they? I realized I gained that much from the armor upgrades. And you see here again, I've located his expansion. I'm just harassing with the gargoyles. You see, there's nothing he can do, and I start hitting that ziggurat. It's not going to finish unless he sends his army. But that basically gives me time to... And the longer he waits it out, the more screwed he's getting. Because that AoE is not going to tear up the A-bombs like it did the Gargs. So I'm going in for the kill now. And I think we know who wins this. Or do we? You'll notice also I've upgraded like everything. Clearly a great thing to do when you've got an expansion like this, which I'm not really used to. I'm used to not having expansion. When you've got an expansion like this, it's really great to upgrade. Upgrades are great if you can afford them. In general, they're definitely not worth it if you can build more units. But when you're maxed out 80-80, those upgrades mean a whole lot. And there we go. That's pretty much game. Once he loses one of his heroes, he's screwed. And now that I've got 6, that Infernal goes down, and that's game over. I mean, he's only really got half my army countered at this point anyway. There's nothing he could really do about that, but the destroyers are basically immune to the area of effect, and but the abominations are massacring those fiends. So now I'm just killing him, and we get to see him on some of his base. You see I'm attacking, or will I attack his gold mine? I'm attacking his gold mine with my acolytes and towering it and stuff. And it's true, if he had gotten Dreadlord second, this game would have been very different. That level 3 swarm would have made all the difference in the world, I think. But I definitely think it was still a good game. And hopefully you guys learned a lot about this matchup and all that. And I don't want to end the replay yet because this is a spectacular finish. I like to do this sometimes. He's unsummoning everything after a good game when all hope is lost. And as the crypt unsummons, that is game over. So let's take a look at the scores here. Units produced, clearly I produced a lot more units. He killed a lot more units. That's just the area of effect stuff. But all in all, you can just tell by the largest army who had the larger army. How about that? So again, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please do leave me feedback on what you thought of it. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Leave me suggestions for future commentaries, whatever. And hope you guys enjoyed. See you around.